How's it going, everybody? I hope you're well. Welcome back to Music with Michelle, and welcome to my reaction to one of my most anticipated albums of the year. It's Royel Otis with PRATTS PAIN. I've been looking forward to this project for such a long time now. Royel Otis have so many good singles and EPs, and finally the album is here, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it. Before we get into the video though, I will be doing a tier list throughout this video, but I'll explain that more when we get to it. Now, the first two songs on the album I have heard before. They've been out for quite a long time now, so I won't bother reacting to them. So we're going to go straight to the first new song on the album, which is called Foam, and then after that I'll talk through the tier list and we'll do the rankings for the first two songs, which are Adored and Fried Rice. So yeah, let's get straight into the first new song on the album, which is called Foam. Now, I will admit I have heard a little snippet of this song. They kind of promoted it on their socials quite a bit over the last few weeks. So I'm not sure if this is like the lead single off the album, you know, the one that they're really trying to promote, the one that would give us kind of the best feel for what the rest of the album's going to be like. That's normally what they try and do when they have like a single that they're really confident with. This was actually released as a single like a few hours ago as well. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to be like the main song or something, but I have heard a little bit of it. And from what I did hear, it sounded very, very good. Amazing chorus. Instantly catchy. That guitar in the background is so cool. It's quite subtle, but sounds incredible. Okay, that was the first brand new song on the album called Foam. Before we get into that though, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I will be doing a tier list throughout this video, so I will explain that quickly now, and then we'll get into the first three songs. So I'm sure you guys know how a tier list works, but in case you don't, pretty much how it works is the higher the tier, the more I like the song. As you can see, the bottom tier there is Miss. That's for when there's a song that I just straight up don't like. I don't think it's any good at all. One above that is Not For Me. You know, sometimes the song is okay, but it's just not for you. Middle tier is Re-Listen. You know, there's a couple of songs sometimes where you just need a couple of listens to really gauge if you like it or not. And I know for a fact actually that there is already one song on this album which is previously been released as a single, and the first time I heard it I didn't like it, so I'm going to give it another go in this reaction, see how I feel about it. But my first reaction to that was that I didn't really like it, but again, I'll give it another go. But yeah, any songs like that will go into the Re-Listen. One above that is straight into my playlist. That's for when I hear a song and I like it straight away. It's going to go straight into my sort of everyday listening playlist. And then the very top tier, which is called Heading for the Door. So when I do these tier lists, the top tier I like to make it pretty much my favorite song from the artist, and in this case my favorite song that I've heard from Royel Otis is probably Heading for the Door. There's honestly not a song which I don't like, apart from one on this album. But other than that, there's no songs that I really don't like from the band. I think every single they've released has been great, and the EPs have been great. It was a tough choice between a song like Heading for the Door or Oysters in My Pocket, but I think there's a bit of recency bias with Heading for the Door because it came out, you know, only a couple of months ago, but it's been on repeat literally every day ever since. It was my #1 song of 2023. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. So if any songs go into the top tier, it means that I like it on the level of, you know, some of their best songs. Okay, so I know we just listened to Foam, but first of all, let's get into the first two songs on the album, which is Adored and Fried Rice. I won't spend too much time talking about these songs as I mentioned, I've heard them a billion times. That's why I didn't bother reacting to them. It would be pointless. I've heard them so many times. They've been out for quite a while now. I don't know exactly the date, but I think Adored has definitely been out for quite a while. I'm pretty sure Fried Rice came out sort of last summer, that sort of time. But if we start with Adored, which is the first song on the album, yeah, go straight into the top tier. I was actually going to say during my explanation that my top 3 songs are Adored, Heading for the Door, and Oysters in My Pocket. But yeah, I love Adored. It's an incredible song. The intro and the guitar riff in the intro I think is so cool. A really good chorus as well, really catchy, and a great showcase of the lead singer, his incredible voice, his very unique voice, which I think will be a common theme throughout this reaction. But yeah, I think he showcased it really well in Adored. It's just one of them songs that made you realize how different Royel Otis are as a band, and how much of a unique sound they have. So it's no surprise that this is the opening song on the album. It's a great tune. And next up we have Fried Rice, which I wouldn't say it's on the level for me personally as my favorites, but it's definitely one that's been in my playlist ever since I heard it. It's been on repeat ever since. One of those songs I imagine is just really, really cool live. But yeah, it's been on repeat for a very long time now, so I'm going to put that one straight into my playlist. And now we can move on to a song which we just heard, which is Foam. Again, a really cool song. I'm going to probably be saying that throughout the whole album, but yeah, another song which straight away I heard it, I was like, yep, I like it. I did mention that I've heard it a little bit before as well. It's the only song, apart from the ones already released, that I've kind of heard a little snippet from. They kind of used it in a lot of promotional material, and it seems to be the lead single from this album. They've released it a few hours earlier, so it seems to be one that they're quite proud of, and you can definitely see why. I think with Foam, the arrangements, the production, absolutely fantastic. I think the production will be a common theme throughout this album because all their songs have a really high quality to them. The first thing I noticed from the song is the really catchy bass line, which is kind of the prominent lead in the entire song. And it actually gave me a little bit of sort of Tame Impala vibes, like from the Slow Rush. Songs like Borderline kind of remind me a bit Tame Impala-esque, not as psychedelic as Tame Impala, but, and that's funny to say that because, as I mentioned, Royel Otis seem to have like a really unique sound, and obviously they take inspiration from other artists, as every artist does, but this one definitely felt quite akin to Tame Impala, which I imagine if you are an Australian band, Tame Impala is like the band you look up to, right? It's one of the most successful bands to come out of Australia, probably one of the biggest artists to come out of Australia for a very, very long time. Yeah, this one just gave me that kind of Slow Rush feel straight away, which is definitely a good thing. And next thing I noticed was the really catchy chorus, which has been used in a lot of the snippets during the socials and the promotion for the album. It's really laid back, it's really catchy, but at the same time it's really in your face. So a really cool start to the album. And Foam, I'd say, I don't think straight away I was like, okay, it's my favorite song. It's definitely going straight into my playlist. Still a song which I really enjoyed first listen. But yeah, great start to the album. The first 3 songs I've absolutely loved so far. So let's go straight on to number 4, which is called Sonic Blue. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, so I know there's 2 of them, right? Royal and Otis, that's their second names. That's how they got the name of the band. I don't know which one's the lead singer. I'm not too sure, but this sounds like the other guy, the one that we never really... He's normally just playing an instrument. He covers his face quite a lot. I'm not sure if this is the normal singer we're hearing, but his voice sounds very different, so it might actually be the other guy, which is quite interesting. If it is, he's got a good voice though. Okay, that was number 4, Sonic Blue, a very interesting song. I think that's definitely one that requires a second listen. Not saying that I didn't like it on the first listen, but there was so much going on that I really want to jump back into it and just kind of analyze it a bit more. But my first impression is a very good one. It's kind of hard to generalize a lot of their music, which I think is a very good thing because I don't really like putting things in genres anyway, but it's kind of a common theme that I've noticed from a lot of these Australian bands, and I did want to do like a video about that because there's so much good music coming out of Australia and so much talent coming out. They seem to really be the main pusher of this indie alternative sound that we're hearing now. A lot of the bands coming out are from Australia, and they're kind of dominating that scene, which is really cool to see. And I'm not sure what the reason for that is. There's a couple of reasons that it could be, like the government funding and the accessibility to instruments and studios and things like that. But I think one of the big reasons is that because they don't really have, is from what I've been told anyway, they don't have like quite a big cultural influence from any other places. Whereas in, you know, North America and in Europe, we have quite a lot of influences from all around us. But Australia is just this massive island in the middle of nowhere, so they have to kind of create their own sound. I think it leads to bands like Royel Otis, like the Grogans, as I mentioned before, Tame Impala, just to create this really unique, otherworldly sound that we haven't really heard before. It definitely does make you stand out as an artist and creates really cool music like this. And as I mentioned during the reaction, I'm not sure if this was the normal singer or if this was the other guy that we don't really see too much. Off the top of my head, I don't think I've heard this voice before. It might be an effect being used or something like that, but it sounds like the other guy, the guy with the long hair. Sounds like it might be him, which is really cool to see, and he's got a really cool voice. It kind of reminded me of Nick Rattigan from Serve Curse, Current Joys. It sounds a bit like him, where it's kind of shouty, but it's not like in your face. It's like a really nice shouty kind of singing voice. And this was a really cool song because it's quite different from the other 3 songs so far on the album, and it is right in front of Heading for the Door as well, which is an interesting placement, but a really great song, some great instrumentation in there as well. And I think this one, again, to go straight into my playlist. I know I said I want to listen to it again, I want to analyze it a bit more, but that's more in a way of like, it was such an interesting song, there's so much going on that I didn't appreciate it for what it is in the first listen. But I don't think it means it should go in the re-listen category. I think it definitely deserves a place in straight into my playlist, and it's a really great start, 4 for 4 at the moment for songs that I like. And next up at number 5 is another song which was released and I have spoken about before. It's Heading for the Door. Now, I don't need to talk about this one too much either. Obviously, it goes straight into the top tier because that's what it's named after. As I mentioned, this was my #1 song of 2023. I think it came out sort of mid to late November, so it was really late in the year for it to be my favorite song of the year. But it's just one of those songs that you hear and straight away you love it, and it was on repeat, honestly, for like a week straight. It's the only song I listened to. It's really fun to play on guitar as well, which is always a great thing for a song that you like, to be able to play along with it. I don't know, this song just tickles something in my brain. I absolutely love it. I just never skip it when it comes on. It's honestly one of my favorite songs I've heard for a very, very long time, and of course it's my favorite song from the band, so it's obviously going to go in that top tier. It's great to see it on this album as well, and yeah, I don't think I need to say much more about that one, so we might as well move on to number 6, which is the song again that I alluded to earlier. It's called Velvet. I listened to it once, didn't like it, but I'm going to give it another go. I'm going to react to it again, see if my opinion changes. But yeah, my first impression of it when I heard it, I've only heard it once, but my first impression of when I heard it was that I'm not a fan of it. So let's see if my opinion will change. First time I heard this song as well, I wasn't wearing headphones like this, so that might make a difference. But yeah, let's see. Number 6, Velvet. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think my opinion is going to change on that one. Just not for me, really. I don't think it's a bad song necessarily. I wouldn't put it in the bottom tier, no way. I don't think it's a terrible song, but for me, it doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't grab me. I know it's called Velvet, and it does remind me a little bit of the Velvet Underground. I've not heard too much of Velvet Underground, but it does have a similar feel to, you know, their kind of music. It does have a very retro feel to it, like an old rock kind of feel. And I definitely appreciate the creativity. It's something very different. That might be why I don't like it, but I normally do like songs that push the boat out a little bit, so I can't really tell you why I don't like it. It's one of those ones. It's just not really doing it for me. Again, not a bad song, just not for me. So I think it's going to go straight into that playlist. Not for me. Again, definitely not a miss. I think there is definitely an audience for this kind of music. And if I'm listening to the album on like a listen to track list, listening to it on vinyl all the way through, I wouldn't like go out my way to skip it or anything like that. It's not that bad, but just not really for me. I will say though, I think this would be quite a cool live song, so hopefully when I see Royel Otis, whenever that is, if they do play it, I might appreciate it a bit more. I did like it more on the second listen, so maybe a few more goes I might start to like it, but yeah, for now, not for me. And let's move on to number 7. At number 7 we have IHYSM, which I presume stands for I Hate You So Much. Well, let's find out. Interesting, that intro there, it kind of had a similar chord progression to Heading for the Door, but a bit more fast. It's quite interesting. I hate you so much. Which I presume stands for I Hate You So Much. There you go. You don't wanna hate me, love's got me wasted. I can feel the way. I can feel the way of you. I think it's time for the next vacation. My back keeps breaking away. I can feel the way. I can still as I predicted, that song was called I Hate You So Much. And you know, if I was a betting man, then I would probably bet that that song there was written around the same time as Heading for the Door. And the reason I say that is because the main chords to Heading for the Door, the kind of end part of the riff, it goes from like a, I think it's a C to like a D or an E, then to an F. Whereas on this one, it sounded like it stopped at the C and it didn't go to the other two chords. It did kind of sound like Heading for the Door, had the same kind of structure and pattern, but went like a different direction. But it definitely seems like one of those songs where like they're writing either this one or Heading for the Door, and then they come up with the other idea. I might be completely wrong in that, but my first impression is that it did sound a lot like Heading for the Door, which obviously for me personally is amazing because I love Heading for the Door. And yeah, this one's no different. Do I think it's as good as Heading for the Door? No, but you know, again, I've had the luxury of hearing Heading for the Door 1,000,001 times, so first time hearing this one. Do I think it's as good as that song? No, but still really, really, really good song. Again, just loads of different instrumentations happening, some really interesting stuff as well, some really interesting tones and effects happening. I really like the guitar in this one, it's a bit wobbly, but yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on each song. But yeah, I think for I Hate You So Much, again, straight into my playlist, no complaints about that one. And pretty much all the songs in this tier here, I just can't wait to listen to again. So yeah, we've only got, what, 4, 5 more new songs to listen to, which is a shame. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Get on to number 8, which is called Molly. Feels like I should be in like Pirates of the Caribbean or something. I know I mentioned briefly the Velvet Underground influence, but this really does sound like Venus in Furs. It really reminds me of that straight away. Oh. That was a cool song. That was a really cool song. As I mentioned at the start, it reminds me of like a pirate song, like Pirates of the Caribbean, or like when you're playing Sea of Thieves, you can play an instrument. It reminded me of that, like really, really unique. And like, whereas I did mention it kind of sounds like, or it reminded me of initially, just sounds like it's taken a lot of inspiration from Velvet Underground, Venus in Furs. That spacey guitar sounds, that really nice chord progression. And it's the first kind of slowish song that we've had on the album so far. It's taken 8 songs, so kind of the middle part, a bit more towards the second half of the album, but kind of starting this second half of the album in a bit more of a slower song, which is a nice change of pace. There's been nothing wrong with the pacing so far, it's been brilliant, but it's always nice to have a bit of variation in there. But that's one of them songs that just hit straight away. They hit you straight away. From the first 10-20 seconds, I was a bit like, where's this going? You know, a bit weird. But as soon as that guitar came in, amazing. There's this really cool guitar in the background as well, like a vibrating guitar in the background. Sounded really, really good. Complements the vocals as well. Kind of more spacey, melancholic songs definitely work for the vocals, for the lead singer. Amazing song, honestly, amazing song. And I think first impression, honestly, straight to the top. I really, really enjoyed that one. I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't really get a chance to listen to the lyrics, really, because my head was just like buried the entire time. I was just kind of having a good time listening to it. But yeah, really, really good. Really, really, really good song. I think that song's going to take quite a lot to top. So let's move on to number 9, which is called Daisy Chains. And yeah, see where we go from here. Okay, that was number 9, Daisy Chain. This one didn't really grab me as much as the other ones, really, to be honest. Straight away, it didn't really, have anything stand out for me. It sounds like a typical Royel Otis song at this point. It sounds like it's probably something that we feel a bit more familiar with from Royel Otis, whereas a few of the other songs on here are a bit more unique, a bit different. This one feels a bit more familiar, a bit more safe. I did like the guitar riff that was playing throughout the start and then in the chorus and then kind of played throughout the rest of the song. I did like that guitar riff. It was quite Strokes-esque. I quite liked it. Yeah, I don't think there was anything really that jumped out to me too much. Yeah, just overall, just quite a solid song. Definitely nothing wrong with it, and sounds quite Royel Otis-y. But I think didn't really jump out at me, didn't really pull me in first listen, so I think I'll put it in re-listen because it's definitely a song which I think is for me. Like I said, it sounds like a lot of their other stuff, so I think after a few listens I probably will like it a lot more. But yeah, first impressions, I think I'll put it in re-listen. And yeah, let's move on to song number 9, which is called Sofa Kings. It's another song that has previously been released. It was the lead track on their EP, Sofa Kings. I'm quite surprised this is actually on the album, because when I looked at the original track listing, there was 12 songs and Sofa King wasn't on there, so I wonder if it was like a last minute thing. I'm not sure, but it is, I think it's their second most popular song behind Voices in My Pocket, I think. And yeah, there's a reason for that. It's a pretty incredible song, really catchy. The chorus is amazing. It's up there with one of my favorite Royel Otis songs. Again, I've listened to it hundreds and hundreds of times, so I don't need to react to it, but yeah, that's going straight in the top tier as well. I thought that EP, I actually did a reaction to that EP, which isn't out on my channel yet. I'll release that in a couple of weeks time when I get a chance to edit it, but I did actually do a reaction to that EP, and personally, I thought every song on there was solid. It was really, really good. But Sofa King was definitely a standout song from there. Sadly, that leaves us with only 3 more songs on the album. So yeah, let's move straight into number 11, which is called Glory to Glory. I know Royel Otis do label themselves as an indie pop band, but this definitely felt like the most indie song out of the whole album, pretty much. I think it's a combination of that really nice bass line that sounded like it was being, played with a pick, which is quite a traditional thing to do for indie alternative music. Then you had the really catchy, repetitive chords being played in the background. Then my favorite part personally from the whole song was that really nice guitar riff in the middle that kind of played in between verses. It's like a really heavy guitar riff. I really did like that. That sounded really unique and gave a nice little spin to the song, which at the start of it, I'll be honest, I was a bit like, I'm not sure where this one's going. I'm not sure if I really like this one, but as soon as that guitar riff kicked in and then the drums kicked in, yeah, big fan of that one. Definitely a grower. One that I think the more I listen to it, the more I definitely will like it, because the more the song went on, the more I was enjoying it. And it did feel like quite a short song. It's actually not in terms of the length of the song and the time that it's going on for, but it did kind of feel like quite a short song, which probably means that I really enjoyed it. So with that being said, I think that this song goes straight into my playlist. Not a top tier one, I don't think, not yet, but yeah, straight into my playlist for Glory to Glory. And that leads us on to the penultimate song on the album, number 12, Always, Always. Yeah, really beautiful song there. You normally see that towards the end of an album, you know, the more sort of emotionally driven, melancholic songs normally happen at the end of the album. That was a really beautiful song. That was definitely one that I listened more to the lyrics of for that one, because the instrumentation, it's not simple, but it kind of kept the same throughout. It was quite repetitive, not in a bad way, it's just repetitive in terms of, you know, there wasn't much variation in the music, but there didn't need to be. I mean, it's exactly 3 minutes long, so it's not a long song anyway, but there wasn't much variation in the actual chords and the structure of the chords and the rhythm and stuff like that, but it didn't need to be, because it was just such a really nice, chill, as I said, melancholic, emotionally driven song. Some lovely lyrics in there as well. And I think a good sign of a song is, you know, can you sing the lyrics first time hearing it? Can you predict what the chorus is going to be? Is the chorus already catchy? And that, you know, always playing in the chorus, instantly catchy and instantly memorable. So a really good job there. And yeah, definitely one that kind of had a lot of retro rock, sort of 60s rock feel to it. Yeah, almost like a love song you would hear back in the day. It was really beautiful, really nice. I think that's like the second quite emotionally driven song we've had in the album so far, and I do like it when bands go down that route. I do like the slower songs, so this one definitely worked for me. And a bit like the case with I Hate You So Much, the song just instantly kind of clicked with me. As soon as I heard the chords, as soon as I heard that lovely guitar in the background and the vocals as well, again, a song that's perfect for the vocals on here and the lead singer's vocals. It's one of them songs that I heard and I just instantly liked, and instantly I was like, yeah, this is for me, this is my kind of song. So with that being said, straight into the top tier. One of my favourites that I've heard off the album. There's quite a few favourites, almost half of the album's up there, but there's a reason for that. A lot of these songs have been absolutely incredible, which is why it's sad to say that this is the final song on the album. It's been very quick. It is not the longest album, it's not the longest in duration or song length, and a lot of the songs, you know, have been released before, so there is that, but it feels like it's gone very quick. But we are on the final song on the album now, and it's number 13, Big Ciggie. Okay, this again sounds like the other singer. I might be completely wrong, but like I think it's the fourth song. Was it Sonic Blue? I think it was. I think this might be the other singer. I'm not too sure, but it does sound like him. That's a very nice upbeat way to end an album. Definitely more of a fun one, definitely more of a jokey song. There's nothing really in there like impactful from a lyrical or musical standpoint. There's nothing like crazy going on there. Just seems like a nice way to end the album, quite a fun way to end the album. Bit different from anything we've really heard from the band. It was a bit chaotic, a bit sort of loose, if that makes sense. Whereas all the other songs feel like they really tighten it and have like a really tight structure and you know where the song's going. This one just felt a bit more all over the place, a bit messy, but again, not in a bad way, just in a bit of a creative way. It was like consciously messy, which I think is really cool. You know, the final song on an album is always a chance to, I suppose, be a bit more expressive. You either go down the route of, you know, trying to create this really emotional, heartfelt song to end the album, or you just kind of let loose of the reins and go, let's just make like a really fun, upbeat, bouncy song. It was really cool though. I did really like it. It was unique. Again, unique, which is, I think, the buzzword for this album. Unique. It's got a very different sound to it, and yeah, just something I didn't expect to hear from the band, but definitely something that's welcome. I think, you know, if they can use that kind of last song on the album to be a bit more creative and try new things, then why maybe this is a way of gauging audience reaction and reception to what a song like this, how it performs and how people react to it. But from my point of view, I thought it was really cool, very creative, and as I said, consciously messy. Do I think it's the best song on the album? No. Is it for me though? Yeah. So go straight to my playlist, and yeah, there you go. That concludes the tier list. As you can see from the tier list, as expected, there's no songs in the miss. I didn't think there would be, but yeah, there's no songs in the miss. There's one song in the not for me, which is called Velvet. Maybe I didn't help myself going into it with the idea that I don't like it. That probably didn't help, but I've listened to it twice now, and neither time has it really caught my attention or sucked me in, anything like that. So not the biggest fan of that one. Again, it's not a bad song at all, just not really for me. I appreciate where it's coming from musically and creatively, but yeah, just not for me. But one song in re-listen, which is called Daisy Chain, and as I mentioned, it just sounds like a typical Royel Otis song, so I doubt that I won't like it as time goes on. I think it will definitely grow on me, but I think for now, the first listen, first impression didn't really jump out at me, whereas all the other songs kind of jumped out at me and felt like they brought something to the album. This one just felt a bit safe, and yeah, but again, I think the more I listen to it, the more I will like it. And as I mentioned, for both of these songs, Velvet and Daisy Chain, if I'm listening to the album throughout, you know, track list to track list, I'm not going to skip it. They're not skippable songs. They're just not really for me. Daisy Chain, though, could grow on me, so that's why it's in re-listen. We have 6 songs in straight into my playlist, which means that there's just 6 songs there that I heard straight away and I really, really like. Chances are a couple of them will probably move up a tier the more I listen to them. But at the moment, there's 6 in the straight into my playlist. And then that leaves us with the top tier. And I've got to say, I've done quite a few of these reactions now. Not that many, but I've done quite a few. And I've been using this structure for a lot of them, this tier list structure. I don't think I've ever seen nearly half the album on the top tier. Now, this album did have the benefit of, you know, 3 of the songs I already heard and I have been listening to for quite a long time now. So that has influenced my decision a little bit because I know the songs and I know I very much like them. And they've kind of stood the test of time already. So there is pretty much just 2 brand new songs in here. But yeah, I've not really done any of these tier lists where this many songs, this higher percentage of the album is in the top tier. So very impressive work from Royel Otis. The top tier there we have Adored, we have Heading for the Door, we have Molly, we have Sofa Kings, and we have Always Always. So yeah, that is my tier list. Please let me know in the comments where you rank your songs. I'll also leave a link to the tier list in the description if you want to have a go yourself. Yeah, let me know if you agree with my picks. If you disagree, you know, what songs go on your top tier, I'll be very interested to know. So that was my reaction to the brand new Royel Otis album, Pratts and Pains. And as you could probably tell from my reaction and from the tier, very, very impressed with this album. I will be honest, this is the first album I've properly listened to this year. I've not really had the time this year to, you know, sit down and listen to a lot of music. So this is the first album that I've properly listened to, but this is already, I can tell, going to be contender for me for personally album of the year. It's been highly anticipated. I've been waiting quite a long time for this one. Been a big fan of Royel Otis for quite a long time now. And I've watched them as they've grown and they've gone from, you know, releasing Oysters in My Pocket, which was a massive hit for them, absolutely blew them up and, you know, propelled them to that next level. And then recently you've had the Murder on the Dance Floor, the Triple J cover, which absolutely blew up on socials, especially on TikTok. They got so much attention from that, and it's like perfect timing, right? They released this cover of this song that's, you know, going viral, and they themselves go viral like 2-3 weeks before the album launch. Perfect timing. You couldn't have asked for better timing. And I don't know if it obviously was intentional to go viral, but you can't just go viral. You know, it happens by chance. You can't make a video to go viral. But I think it's just very clever from the band that they kind of saw the opportunity and they took it. And I think that kind of translates in their music as well. You can just tell they're a bit of a unique band. They've got something different about them. I think the biggest compliment I can give them is that their music is unique and it is bringing a sort of new, fresh take to a genre that has been, I'd say it's, you know, it's been on the come up definitely from Australia for quite a long time now. This indie alternative genre has definitely had so many good bands come out recently over the last decade or so, but it's definitely a genre I feel like needs a bit more creativity in it, you know, because it can sometimes feel a bit stale. A lot of songs can sometimes feel a bit samey. So I think when a band like Royel Otis comes along and they just bring this fresh new sound, which I think is so hard to do in this day and age, you know, music has been being made for so long, and you're kind of at this point now where anybody can make music, right? And anybody can pick up a guitar or any instrument and just make a song, upload it. And, you know, I think that makes it that much harder to stand out from the crowd because it's such an accessible thing to do nowadays. And it's such an oversaturated market where there's so many people trying to make music. So when a band like Royel Otis come along and they just have this fresh spin, this fresh take on the music and the genre, and they just bring something new and they take the influences and they combine it with their new unique sound, it's just so refreshing. It's so good to see, and I'm so happy for them because they've definitely been on the come up over the last couple of years. They've not been making music for that long. I think their first song came out in 2021, so only about 2.5 years ago that they released their first, you know, proper single. And I think it's just been like an uphill trend since then, and they're going on tour now in Australia and America. They're doing festivals in Europe, so it's going to be a very, very big year for Royel Otis, and I'm very, very happy for them. I think they deserve it. You love to see bands like this come up and they have this, you know, it's new, fresh, creative sound, and you love to see them do well and progress, so I'm really happy for them. Yeah, as I mentioned as well, you know, this album had, I think, quite a lot of influences from other bands such as Tame Impala, Velvet Underground. You had the penultimate song, Always Always, which had a very 60s rock feel to it. But again, it didn't feel rehashed. It didn't feel, you know, almost plagiarized. It did feel new. It felt fresh. And it just feels like taking ideas that already exist and taking like a unique spin on it, which again is a very, very hard thing to do. So massive props to them. Again, I'm a massive fan of the album. This is going to be on repeat for a very long time. And yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, listening to all their songs, I have been through their entire discography. I've listened to all of them. Probably the only song that I'm not the biggest fan of is probably Velvet. But other than that, literally every other song, which they've probably got about, what, 30, 35 songs now, all so solid in my opinion. So yeah, can't wait to see more from the band. Obviously, they're going to be very busy this year, so don't expect too much more new music. But I have a feeling that these two are going to really start to pump out a lot of music as time goes on, and they're going to really start to just keep growing and growing and growing, which I really hope they do, because they really do deserve it, and I can't wait to hear more from them. So yeah, for now, there's a ton of new music for us to listen to and get into, but overall, I'm very, very happy. As always, I'd love to hear what you thought of the album in the comments. Let me know what your favorite song is. Let me know, again, with your tier list, which song goes into that top tier. As I mentioned as well, a link to that tier list will be in the description if you fancy having a go yourself. I just want to say a big thank you if you made it this far into the video. I do really appreciate it. I will be doing a lot more content in the coming weeks and months. I've been pretty bad lately at uploading. I've just had a very hectic work and life schedule, so I'm trying to find a balance between the two. So I'm hoping that this year I can really start pumping out more content. And yeah, I'll be doing a lot more videos on bands like Royel Otis, especially the Australian indie pop rock scene as well, because there's so much good music and good bands coming out. So I'm going to pay a lot of attention to that this year. But yeah, overall, just focusing on indie alternative rock, or whatever you want to call it, that kind of music, that kind of genre. Have a load of album reactions, tier lists, essay videos, ranking videos, all that good stuff. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please feel free to subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a nice day.